Hi, welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I have 22 or 21 more days left of school, and I'm just chomping at the bit, ready to be done. I spent most of my week doing a puzzle. Now, I started a puzzle channel, and I have, I think, 2 videos on there. And the first video, I asked people to choose a puzzle, and most of the people didn't choose the one I did, but I had something really bad happen at work, and I came home and I was just really frustrated. And so I grabbed the puzzle that was on top, forgetting that the other one was the one that was voted on to be done. It was a pretty close tie though. It was 3-2. So I'm going to build that's the one that was actually picked next. But I went ahead and I did this puzzle, which is the national parks puzzle, and this was a lot of fun. I actually just finished it, and it's one of the reasons that I'm doing this late. It's already 9 o'clock, and I usually do my chat by 7. Here's the poster that comes with it, and it's actually right there, but of course I'm not going to hold it up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like completed. And I am going to post a video showing me doing this time-lapsed. And I'm also going to show myself putting the glue on it and putting it into the binder. And I hope to have that video up on my new channel, which is called Jigsaw Geek. I hope to have that up by Sunday. A couple of things happening in YouTube. Donald Rex is working on a Nieto. I forget his first name. Alfredo Nieto, I think. And he's very close to completing all of the Charlton Romance comics that artist did. I think he only needs one more, and he's putting together a video, and I think it's going to be really interesting when he gets it done. Now, Razor Comics, which is one of the bad boys of the comic community, is putting together a comic book giveaway, and it's going to happen the same week of Heroes Con for the people who can't go. I know he's been quite a contentious figure in a lot of the comic community. I think he's trying to make up for it a little bit. I was actually a little bit, not mad at him, but I was just tired of the drama, so I stopped watching him for a while. But then I started watching him again, and he still does drama, but I thought I'd give him another chance. And he's actually having a show where he's trying to get together a group of comic collectors, and they're going to plan it out Saturday. So if you want to stop by his channel, that will be Saturday. I forget the time, but I think it's on Saturday evening. I read one book this week, and oh wait, did I show you? I showed you the puzzle, yeah. So I read one book this week, and that was The 42nd Parallel by John Dos Passos. And this is the first in a trilogy. Now, when it first started, I was like, oh, this is weird. I don't really like it. It was all these like short snippets of news events and songs and just all these things put together in like a pastiche of the time. And then he would basically do kind of interwoven short stories about all these people around the time period that he was writing. But by the end, I was really enjoying it, and I'm glad that I read it. There's 2 more to read. It is quite lengthy, but like I said, I was getting into it. And he has all these different characters. Like I said, that some of them you'll meet them in different stories and just in passing. And gosh, I don't even know when he wrote this, but I've read more current writers who do something like that, and I'm sure he's probably not the first one to do it, but he did it well. And like I said, I really enjoyed this. There's a lot of people who are trying to get ahead in business, and a lot of people like, who are, going from job to job, jumping on trains. A lot of, what do I say, fallen women, but, women on hard times and, trying to get along. There's also women who are in, the business field and, as secretaries and those kind of things. It's actually kind of a pastiche of different types of people. And the reason it's called the 42nd parallel, I guess, that's because that was the area that it's focused in. All the characters are kind of either there or they cross there or they meet there or something like that. So I am very much looking forward to the second volume of this. Now, the next book I started was Stand on Zanzibar by John Brunner. Now, this is another really long book. It's 20 hours. And I'm only into the third hour, and I also was like, at the beginning of this, I did not like it. And I was like, gosh, this is so similar to the 42nd parallel, because he starts with all these pastiches of like news events, but they're all in the future. And then he'll introduce a character, but at the beginning, we don't get much of them, and then they start fleshing them out. Now, I'm only 3 hours into it, and I'm sure it's going to get better. This one actually won the Hugo Award in 1968, the year that I was born. And one thing I'm seeing, though, is there's a lot about race, and that's a little bit dated in the book, the treatment of race. But I'm hoping that this one picks up, because I have the same reaction to this book as I did to the 42nd parallel. And I kept saying to myself, man, this is so similar. The style is almost the same. So I looked it up, and then I found out that John Brunner modeled Stand on Zanzibar on John Dos Passos's USA trilogy. The 42nd parallel being the first one. And so I was like, wow, that's really coincidental that I start reading, I read a book, and then I pick up another book that is, modeled after that. It was just a weird coincidence. So if any of you have read Stand on Zanzibar and would like to put that in the comments, and if you like it or not, don't give me any spoilers, but I'm kind of curious. And also if you've read the Dos Passos. Okay, so next I already talked about the puzzle, so I'm going to move that over here. So I really only have 3 more things to talk to you about. So I'm going to go ahead and get a cup of coffee. Oh, wait, let me talk to you about this shirt. So a friend of mine's niece was starting out in art, and she was looking for some commissions. Like, she was like 14 or 15. And so I commissioned this shirt, and she did it. And so this is actually painted on the shirt. She's now in college. And we actually bought a bunch of things from her, and her art got better and better. But this is one of her. This, I think, was the first one we got from her. So she did this, and it's actually really hot. It's getting really hot in LA. It's like really hot. And since this is painted, like, this is heavy. But yeah, I wore this to school today, and my friend, she actually works at the school, and they were like, oh my gosh, because I've actually had this shirt for quite a while now. So anyways, I thought I'd show off that shirt that I commissioned from a young artist. Okay, so let's start with this. I got some comics in the mail that I ordered, and I got these 2 magazines. So I paid $5 and $2 for them, so $7 for both. And the art on this one the cover is, it's pretty good. But, when you get to this one, like, this art is, like, really, really hokey. And so I was thinking, at the least, these are going to be fun. And so for $7, I took a chance. And I actually started reading this one. And I read the first, I think, 3 stories. And I'm going to have to say that I was impressed. Now, the art is pretty bad. But the stories are actually pretty good. They're rivaling Creepy and Eerie and those types of magazines. So this was a 50-cent magazine, and it's it's not in the greatest condition, but the front looks nice. So this was put out in 1971, and this is Stark's Hair number 3 from April of 1971. Here is the splash page, and I think, like I said, I read the first 3. So I'm going to talk about it. Now, right off the bat, the first story was really, really good. So you have a kind of crypt keeper, like in all these magazines. And then you've got this art that is just, it's weird. It's not great, but it's not horrible. There is going to be one, the art is worse. And this is about a man and a wife, and he's a scientist. And he's great in the lab, and whenever he's not in the lab, he's like so clumsy. But she loves him so much. But she's getting tired of living without money, and she's a little tired of his clumsiness. And like he's always dropping things at parties, and there's this like really weird he's in the lab, and I hated this, but he's like doing experiments on cats. Like that poor cat, look at him, and he's putting the cat in ice, and he's trying to see if he can do cryogenics, or what do you call that? Suspended animation. And so the wife comes in and sees that. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to kill him or put him on ice or something. But no, she decides that she wants money, so she's going to be put on ice. And after 7 years, once they get the insurance and the claim can run out, she's going to be brought back. Now, I'm going to leave it. Well, I really kind of want to show the ending because his clumsiness plays a part that's pretty funny. But I'm going to say that I won't show that part, but I'll show you where he's putting her in ice and getting all the blood out of her. And he's like, oh, you know what? I don't like the bump on your nose. So while you're in suspended animation, I'm just going to carve that off of you. It's very strange, but I ended up really enjoying this story. It was like weird and creepy. And the ending was just, it was good. And so I was like, wow, this magazine is starting out really nice. And then I read the second story, which was pretty bad. This one is called Vampire, and you can see the art is just weird. And it's about these hobos on a train, and they find a coffin, and there's a vampiress in the coffin, and she comes out all sexy looking. So here she is. She's strutting in. Look at her. And then she comes and is like just biting man after man. But I mean, the art on this is just pretty bad. And the ending is just so silly that I didn't really enjoy this story except to kind of laugh at it. However, the next one that I read was called The Door. And this is very Ditko in my opinion. And again, the art is just weird and it's strange. And this married couple go into a fun house, and little do they know that this is the fun house from hell. And they go into a door, and they start walking, and they get completely lost, and they can't find their way out. And they're in there for hours, then days, and then finally they've been in there I think a year, and they stumble across somebody who's been in there like a decade, and they start going together, and they come across somebody else, and it I thought the ending was kind of silly. But the whole setup of this was really kind of fun, and I enjoyed it. Like, here's the guy that they met. The art in this is funny. But overall, I'm really enjoying this cheesy magazine. It's so much fun. So I hope the quality stays the same. Now, what I feel is that they had some decent writers who were probably mimicking the other magazines, right? I'm sure the same kind of stuff was being put out in the other magazines, but they probably didn't have the money for, really, really good artists, or I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? But strange magazines, fun. I look forward to reading more on these. And if you like what I said, you can tell me in the comments. Now, I have 2 more things to talk about, and that is I read a Wolverine Epic Collection, and I got this book in the mail. And so let's keep the comics going. So we're going to talk about Wolverine. So this is the Epic Collection Volume 15. Now, I told myself I've got to read a couple of these a week because I have so many of them and I need to get caught up. Oh, by the way, I'm not in my garage. Did I mention that? I was doing my puzzle and it got really late. And so I'm doing this in my old bedroom, right? So anyways, Volume 15 of the Epic Collection, Wolverine. And I was laughing at that cover art. I was like, what is this? And it's called Law of the Jungle. And it's Volume 15 from 2002 to 2003. And I was saying, you know, like that art would be much better. And this is what I found. The covers are excellent. The interior art is really, really good. There are a couple of different arcs, and the art does change. It's not always going to be phenomenal, but it's never horrible. And I was actually enjoying the story. Some are better than others. There's an arc. Excuse me. There's an arc where two villains, Lady Deathstrike and the guy with all the tentacles, I forget what his name is. They're after Wolverine, and so they kidnap his stepdaughter, which I didn't even know he had one of those. And this guy, Omega Red, maybe is his name. So they come along and they kidnap the daughter, and so Wolverine is on, he's on the warpath to get them back, to get her back, and then to get justice. And I actually was really enjoying this. In addition to that, there's this ray that takes away your powers, and so the ray is shot. You can target somebody, and the ray is shot onto Wolverine, and so he loses his invulnerability. So he has to face these two really, really powerful enemies of his without his healing factor. And I thought that just kind of upped the ante a little bit. But the thing is, they didn't keep that going for long. I wish they would have. Then there was an arc. So I could show some of the covers I was talking. Like this one is okay. There's here's another one. They get better. So you're going to see they're going to be more in this painted style, which those are the ones that I really, really liked. Oh, and here's the horrible, the horrible one. That's the cover. The next arc, I think, is where he's, yeah, that one actually. This one I want to hunt down and find. I really like that cover. Let me see. The next arc is he goes to Japan. Oh, there was this one really cool. It was just a piece. This was it was a backup story, and it was really good. So this is from the point of view of the man who killed Mariko, which is, I believe it was Wolverine's wife in Japan. And Wolverine vows that he will return every year and cut off a different piece of this guy. And so this is this man waiting for Wolverine to arrive, and he's remembering every year because he's very powerful and he has all these ninja and all these warriors, and he has them all set up every year, and he's like, nope, by 12 o'clock every year I'm going to come and cut a piece off of you. So instead of being from Wolverine's point of view, it's from his. And I really enjoyed that one. There's one where... Oh yeah, there's an arc where Wolverine dies. And he meets, supposedly, Jean Grey. And she's walking him through kind of like the... the Three Ghosts in the Dickens story. And that was kind of like what that was like. And then here's that cover. It's Wolverine number 177. I don't know. I think that one's pretty neat. Now there's another arc in this where he's fighting the mob, and those are the three the covers of them. He's fighting a mob, and in order to pay off someone's debt to the mob, he starts working for them to pay off what the guy owes. And so he starts, it's pretty good too. So he starts being an enforcer for the mob. Now, like I said, the art isn't going to be great, but it's not, I mean, it's not horrible, but you get stuff like that, which is reminiscent of the 90s. Let me see. Here's a Joe Kubert cover, black and white. Sorry, I think this is dragging on, especially if you don't like Wolverine. This was probably my favorite of the book. So this is where he's sitting in a bar. I didn't know this was going to become an arc. This is the first section, and he's sitting in a bar and he's listening to all these gangsters talk about all their different recent exploits, and he's just listening to them as they tell their stories. And it was a really, really interesting episode. They show you the end at the beginning, and then they flash back. And I won't tell you why he's there, but it's pretty good. And so there's the end of that comic. And then here's the next one where he is joining the mob. Like I said, very nice issues, nice art. Here was a splash page that I even though it's silly as all get out, I kind of like that one. I mean, sometimes comics are just over the top, and that's okay. Here's another one of those painted covers that I thought is pretty cool. There's a bunch of those. It's like from here on in to the end of the book, you're going to have covers like that where his muscles are all out of proportion, but the painted art is pretty cool. And this all has to do with the mob. In this issue, he goes up against the Punisher, and that's kind of fun. Like I said, if it weren't for these muscles, this might be a pretty cool picture. Those over-exaggerated muscles. And here's another one. I really like this one because you can see Wolverine in the mirror of the car. But I mean, look at the guy's thumb. You see, the dirt under the fingernails. It's just a really well done picture. Art. All right, and I think that's going to be enough for Wolverine. I would say this is 3.5 out of 5. It was, I don't regret buying this, and I don't regret reading it. Do I say this is essential? No, but if you like Wolverine, you should get this. I was like really surprised that I liked it. And finally, we're going to come to the art of Robert E. McGinnis. So he is the artist that recently died, and I bought this book for $30 off Amazon, and I bought it sight unseen. And here's the cover, and boy, am I glad I bought it. This thing is beautiful, and I'm actually reading it, and I'm about, I think, halfway through it. Now, what I really like is, this guy's art is so good. What I like is that they have full page art. I can't show you this because there's some nudity in it, but look at that. And they talk about how he was a contemporary of one of the Wyatts, and you could, wow, so beautiful. Now, he started off in ad agency. I can't linger on that too long because it has some nudity, but he was writing ads, and then he got into pulps and then into paperback books, mostly the detective novels. And this is the style that he has. That's his dad's artwork. And like I said, I'm reading all this and I'm really enjoying it. But what I'm especially enjoying is that they give you full page art like this, and you just get to like revel in it. It's so cool. And then, they're also going to talk about some of the books along the way. And they're talking about what series he was in. And I could just show like every page. This thing is gorgeous. So I'm not going to do that. I think there's something for everybody. There's definitely titillation. Like, for example, like, look at this. Gosh, look at how beautiful this art is. And these were just on like cheap paperback books. Now, he is recognized, I gather, as one of the masters of his genre at the time. And some of the books go for a lot of money. And these are the ones that I really want to get. The ones with these gold and silver spines. I was collecting those anyway. But now I'm really on the lookout for any with his art on them. Why not show this? Yeah, I mean, this is just gorgeous stuff. I'm not going to show much more. This one is called Backwoods Teaser. This picture, Shack Road Girl. Oh my God, but man, despite the salacious nature of these books, what gorgeous art. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop there. I'm going to most likely show more next week because I'm going to continue reading this. I'm only halfway through the book. But what there is there's usually a chapter of about two and 2.5 pages of text with pictures. And then after that, it's just like solid artwork. And then after about 10 or 15 more pages, there's a little bit more text. It's not hard to read this book at all. Wow. He also did some historical paintings for some historical romances. And just, I mean, if you couldn't tell, I think this is such a beautiful book. This is so worth $30. I haven't even gotten to the part where he stopped doing paperbacks and he was doing paintings. So I'm looking forward to that part of the book. So that, again, is The Art of Robert E. McGinnis. I actually might do a full video just on this book and his career, because I think that merits it. And sorry if you watch this and you have to suffer through it again. So, like I said, this is a very short episode. I actually had the newspaper, and I was going to dip into that, but I promised everyone that I would spare you that. So tomorrow I'm very excited because I'm going to the Getty Museum to see that Painting Men exhibit that I showed off in the newspaper. So I will definitely I will hopefully make a video about that. The last time I went to the Getty, I filmed going up, and so I don't know if I'm going to do that again, because I don't want to show the same stuff. But maybe a lot of you haven't seen that video, and maybe you would like to see what it's like. Because when you go to the Getty, you park. The museum's free, but you have to pay $25 parking. But the friend I'm going with scored some free parking tickets, so we're going for free. So you park, and then you take a tram all the way up the mountain to the museum, which is on a hill that just has gorgeous views, and the architecture of the museum is gorgeous. Yeah, it's a really a nice experience to go to the Getty every once in a while. The other Getty, the Getty Villa, is still closed because of the fires. I think they were the Palisades fires, but it was all those fires going on, and they haven't reopened it. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I want to thank all of you, like always, for the support, and sorry that this one is so short.